What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Climb Together podcast. I'm your host, Tony Discorp, here with my co-host, Deception. Deception, say hi.
What up?
We are back again with episode 113. No, 114. Last week was 113. Um,
Yeah.
some cool stuff has happened since then. I mean, last week we kind of talked about a little bit about the new update with Call of Duty. There's some roster change rumors going around. A lot of those have come to fruition. Um, what else has been going on in the world of gaming? Verdansk is back. It's looking good. Schedule 1 has like taken off as one of like the best indie games on the market right now. And yeah, so we're going to talk about it. Pretty much. Yeah, we're just going to talk about it. Right, Deception?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um so let's talk Call of Duty League first. Mainly because it's, you know, first point of mind. I mean, it's the first thing that came up in my feed, so what are you gonna do? So we had a couple we had some roster changes go through. Let's kind of talk about those real quick. Like, so first, I mean, I guess was this good? Was this through last week, or do we touch on it? The new optic roster.
No, I mean, there wasn't really like a lot of roster stuff that happened. I mean, outside of the optic roster before last week,
Mm,
there were a lot of like weird like rumors, but
yeah.
it was kind of like some of the stuff happened on April Fool's Day, which was a little like, do we
Is
believe it
this
or do we not? But
real? Yeah.
it turned out like some of it was real, to be honest.
Yeah. Hold on, I am pulling up something I found. Okay. So here's some of the roster changes. So I mean, like the first, we'll kind of talk about a bunch, but this is just kind of what I'm gonna put up for you guys to like look at. I guess this is what's gonna keep you entertained. I guess on the viewing side. So I mean, first and foremost, I mean we're gonna talk about the optic, roster changes. I mean they've been doing a lot of changes to the team. Kind of keeping Shotzi and Dashi. So they kept Skies and then they added back on Hugh to the roster, taking Pred off of the starting team and putting him up as a to play for another team. I think we touched on this. It was either
Yeah,
last
we
week
did
or
talk
the
about that.
week before. We talked about Pred going somewhere. There's rumors of a couple different places. But he ended up finding a home with the with the Vegas Falcons, which honestly I think was kind of what we talked about that like a couple weeks ago. About
It
the
was
fact that
like
they need to make
it
a
almost
change.
started as like a meme because like people at the time we weren't like fully sold on them actually wanting to switch to like a partially NA roster.
Yeah,
Like there were rumblings of it, but everybody just thought it was a meme because I mean that team basically has been a meme at this point.
for the entirety of the season.
Like so when that rumor surfaced, it was like I feel like some people were like, okay, maybe that's an interesting kind of weird play by Pred, but okay. And some people were like, no, that's not happening. That's just everybody's just joking around. But it actually ended up happening, and Vegas actually kind of made wholesale changes.
They put together a pretty good
It was
roster.
kind of funny because Breaking Point posted like right after the major, they posted something about like if you had to keep one of the Saudi players and you could put three other players on the Falcons, like who would you put on there? And like the roster that people put together was the rosters that people were putting together were a lot different, but like the unanimous dis- decision was that they keep Exnid because he's been by far the best player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
He basically, I mean, outside of when Kix was on the team, he's basically been the only like CDL caliber player,
Yeah, I agree.
and that ended up actually happening. They kept him on the team, and they picked up three NA players. Um, they picked up Priesta, Arcides, and Pred. The Pred to Falcons rumor actually was true. Um, it really like sort of like kicked up even more on April Fool's Day, and that's why everybody thought it was a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Too, is because CDL Intel reported it like for real on April Fool's Day,
And we were all like,
and
do
everybody
we
was like,
trust
"Okay."
this or do we not? There's a
But
couple
yeah, it
other
actually
things too.
happened.
Trying to find, and they actually like put up some maps. They broke their losing streak of like so many games. So I mean, obviously, it was a good choice for them to kind of do that. I think bringing bringing like our cities into the mix was a good decision as well.
Yeah,
Um,
Arcity's being back in the league is good. I like Arcity's.
he's a good player. Like he's a solid guy. I just think he was kind of waiting for the right roster to be on. I think he was going through some personal things,
Yeah,
and
he
then
kind of he had it rough
yeah,
that tenure he had at LAG.
yeah.
It was not great.
So he had some personal stuff going on, but he was still like grinding, and then also picking up Priesta as well, which I feel like Priesta's like a good player. I mean, just like overall, I mean they're all good players. I mean, I think just Priesta, he's been in the game so long that like he just like he's had like kind of a shit run as far as teams go, and I think this might be one of the better ones that he's kind of been able to be a part of. I mean, this is a championship team. Two of them have literally rings. Does Priest have a ring as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, three of them have rings. So I mean,
In total, between those guys, um, they have they have 5 rings together, or they have 4 rings together, and then you put Clay's 3 in there as a coach. They have
mm-hmm,
some of the most rings of a team in the league.
yeah. So if it weren't for how badly the Falcons did for the first half, I'd say like they have a really good shot of like winning champs, but they really have to like win. I think like every game here to
I
champs.
think they have a solid shot if they can put this together quick
Mm-hmm.
and they can like start winning a few series. They have a solid shot at top 8, judging by how like the other teams have played. If they can at least be like, if they can be like a top 6 team for the rest of the season, they have a legit shot at top 8.
Yeah, which is
Especially if they
something.
made like a pretty good run in a tournament, which is what they would need.
Yeah, and honestly, that's something we haven't been able to say about Vegas at all. I mean, it's kind of they've been just kind of like a throwaway team. So the fact that they've made these certain changes in order
Yeah,
to stay,
basically, there's been nothing to report about Vegas except
other
for the
than they
fact that
still
they used to
suck.
lose every series.
Yeah.
And before they broke that streak with this team, they had lost like 28 hard points in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They had not won a hard point all season. So seeing that team like play at least half decently is such a big step up from how they were.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And then Kenny found his home with the Minnesota Rocker, which I think is an interesting pick. But I mean, I think with the right teammate. I mean, I don't even know what the Rocker roster is right now, if I'm being completely and utterly honest, and that's on me. But um, let's see here. Yeah, so they've got Kenny, Nero, Estriel, and who's their fourth?
Is an awakening there for Big Wake?
Oh yeah, I think so. Oh no, I think it's Looney.
Is it? Ain't no way Looney's playing again.
Oh wait, oh no, he might be coaches. Okay, never mind. Just kidding. He might be coaching.
Looney's old, bro.
Gio? Oh, Gio.
Oh, Gio.
Sorry, I'm
That's
like
not
really
like a
bad.
that's not a bad team in terms of
Mm-mm.
talent, but they have played really bad this season.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they lost like their first match with Kenny, but it was a 3-2, so not too bad.
Kenny looked good though.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny has looked like he's like at least coming back to form.
Yeah, I think it would just might have been. I think it was just probably like a vibes thing. I mean, they did win a championship together, which can either make or break a team. I think we've noticed over the years is like,
I've heard a lot of stuff about like Shotzi talking about Kenny and Prid recently and like his streams, and
mm-hmm,
it basically just comes down to the fact that for some reason, this team just didn't play very well together in this game.
mm-hmm,
Like, I mean, obviously this game plays quite a bit different than MW3 did. Um, so it's no question that like that messes with teams a little bit, but it's just there was just something about Optic that they just didn't mesh well together in this game, and it kind of showed. And although breaking up a championship team is scary, I mean, if they're not playing well together, it's like, I mean, what else can you do?
yeah. It's like, are you gonna keep them together, like just so they can continue to play bad? I mean, and sometimes it happens. Like sometimes you have that championship level team that's really really good, and then something happens and like they'll win or and it'll either like make a dynasty out of it, kind of like the the Optic dynasty, or they just kind of like fall apart, which can happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting how that has worked
Mm-hmm.
because the story of this championship team is almost the same as the Optic Dynasties
Yeah.
team. I mean, although this is probably worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they got the dub, and I think that that's at the end of the day, that's what's important to them. And now they're not in the same team anymore. But I think
Yeah.
it was quite obvious that they just couldn't continue on like that. But
I mean, they've been looking pretty good. They started off this split 2-0.
mm-hmm.
It's it's better than they did all of stage 2 split.
That was true. So I mean, I think the changes were worth it. But um, just keep watching and keep seeing. I mean the major is really where it comes down to. So, but
Yeah, like I said, that's going to be in terms of both Rocker and Vegas being so far down the board. Um,
mm-hmm.
and LAG too, to be honest. I mean, I don't see LAG getting that much better, but um, Vegas is probably the team that has the most potential, probably
The sweep.
um, out of this whole like change. Just because of the fact that they were so bad before, they can only go up, so
Yeah, literally.
they obviously have the best potential. But I mean, if Vegas can like string together, like if they can go like positive in their stage splits,
Mm-hmm.
go at least like 4-3, and make at least like a decent run at a major or a minor, they have like a pretty okay shot at top 8.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say they're mathematically out of it yet. They're getting close though,
I
because
do
there's
like
not a
that.
lot of time left.
I do like that these roster changes kind of like brought the teams back into the play, though. I mean, they were really like, even Optic was kind of like down and out for the count, essentially. Like,
Yeah, there was. I mean, during Major 2, like Scump was talking about, like there is a real chance that they don't make champs if they keep playing the way they were playing.
so I mean, it's good to see that the competition's back up. It's back to being the depth has returned to the league. Um,
I just wish that we get the Vanguard. The competitiveness of the Vanguard season was like unmatched.
but yeah,
It was insane.
everybody was like, so many. I think
Basically, any team could win at any point. It was
yeah.
basically up until like Thieves caught fire at the end of the season. It
Mm-hmm.
was basically just any team could just win any series. Basically, it was a toss up.
Mm-hmm. You didn't know until it happened. Our brackets during that were, whew, they were ugly. I feel like after that though, it was much easier for us to predict.
MW2 and MW3 had a lot of parity too, but like not as much as Vanguard.
Yeah, I agree.
MW2 and MW3 was when we started seeing like 4 distinct teams start to pop up. Especially MW3. MW3, it was like between the top 4, it was a toss up, but like everywhere else, it was like, yeah, one of the top 4 teams is going to win.
I still can't believe they got to a game 5 for like the first time ever. I think.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm still mind boggled by that. But anyway, so yes, I mean we're gonna see more of this unfold. I mean that was just like week 1 of.
I mean CDL has a schedule up for this weekend's matches, and it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Take a look. Let's take a look.
Oh, there's gonna be a real good matchup there, and you'll see it.
Actually, I have it pulled up right here. We can just scroll. Here we go. Schedule for this weekend. Friday, we've got Heretics versus Optic. Then the Coups versus LAG. Then Ravens versus Minnesota. Saturday, we've got Heretics versus FaZe. We've got Falcons versus Optic again.
That's gonna be a big one.
Then Boston versus LAG.
Fred versus the rest of the
team. Oh yeah. And then Boston versus LAG. Then Cloud9 versus Thieves. And Sunday we've got Rocker versus Cloud. Yeah, it's gonna be a good weekend. You know.
Toronto versus the
LA.
Thieves. That'll be a good one.
Nice way to close out Sunday. Nice way to close out the weekend. It's gonna be a good map. I have a feeling.
I'm very intrigued to watch the Vegas Optic matchup. That'll be very interesting.
It's very And then Super on Heretics, he's doing well too. I forgot that they made a change as well. There's a lot of roster changes. I mean, that's the mid-season though. That's just kind of how it is. It's just like all of a sudden, like everybody just like.
Yeah, I mean, I would say unless anything crazy happens, this is probably
where it's gonna be.
This is basically like mid-season between Major 2 and Major 3 is usually like how it's basically like the CDL's version of the NBA trade deadline. I mean, obviously there's no deadline for CDL. It's like you can basically do anything with anybody whenever. But like this is like this is probably for the season is going to be the last big like set of changes that will be made. Because I mean, we're into Major 3 split now. And there's only 4 majors this year. So everybody is trying to get their team now geared up for champs and trying their hardest not to make changes.
Yeah. I mean, we're halfway through the season and, you know, it's that halfway mark with that. And I think it's a good marker of like, okay, we spent half the season with this team, it didn't work, make some changes, and then, you know, stick it out with the rest. Because you can't really put together a really good team in like a really short amount of time. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work like that. So, but excuse me. I don't know what I was gonna say. The yawn disrupted my thought processes. Kind of keeping it in the Call of Duty realm. I mean, there really isn't much we can else kind of do about this weekend, but we'll talk more about how things went next week with all these new changes as well. I mean, it seems to be doing pretty good so far. But I mean, the new season of COD has been out. Verdansk is back. I
I've
really,
been watching a lot of people play Verdansk.
yeah, me too, and it makes me want to play. It makes me want to play so bad. Oh, I want to play so bad. Like yeah, I'm like itching. I'm like, okay, gotta play COD, gotta play COD, gotta play COD. Cause you know me, I've been stuck on that. I've been stuck on that Schedule 1 grind, which we can talk about later. But it's just I haven't wanted to play anything else. But I played COD today, kind of to get back into it a little bit, cause um I want to get back into Warzone. Cause I mean, you remember I was pretty freaking good at Warzone solos, at least. Even team, like we would get in there, you, me, and Wyatt. We would get into Rebirth, and we would be like unstoppable. Essentially, we would die to like some stupid shit at like the end, but we would dominate.
There were so many times when me and Wyatt would play tourneys, and we would have like one game where it's like a really good game, but we don't win or whatever,
Yeah, you'd have like
and then we
20
end up
kills and then die.
losing by like 1 point.
Yeah, it was so
There were
bad.
so many. If there were so many, um, there were so many like wagers and stuff we did where we'd lose by like 1 or 2 points.
So I really want to get back
Yeah,
into it.
I've seen people really happy about Verdansk.
I mean, they changed a lot of the lighting stuff too, so like a lot of the darker areas are brighter, and you know, with the new engine,
It
it
does
just
look a lot better, I think, than it did.
I think it kind of like allows us to kind of compare how much the graphics of Call of Duty has changed in 5 years. Especially with some of the other maps that we've had. I mean, I feel like going back to the original map that all of us love, or most of us love anyway.
Because
It's
I'm pretty
refreshing.
sure they like updated they switched Warzone to the updated engine that
Mm-hmm.
BO6 uses, which I mean
Yeah.
BO6 uses the Modern Warfare engine, but it's an updated version that's kind of like tailored to Treyarch. And like that is a good source of why the lighting is better because
Yeah.
you know Verdansk and MW19 was like 50 Shades of Brown. Like it kind
Just
of
use it,
looked
bro.
it just kind of looked drab and
Yeah.
just yeah. And like
Grody.
it still sort of looks like that because that's just I mean that's how Verdansk was, but like a lot of the lighting aspects make it not look as bad.
I've been watching the the TikToks and the streams and the YouTube videos about it, and I think it was a good move for Call of Duty to bring it back. I think they waited a little too long to bring it back. I think they should probably brought it back like a year ago or at least. Or I mean, personally,
I
in my
agree.
opinion, I think they should have just kept it in the game and like had it like Apex, where you can just like pick which map you play or like do like a rotating kind of
Yeah.
thing. But that's my personal opinion. But
Yeah,
now,
that's the only other thing that I don't like is like I feel like this season is not even this isn't even BO6. This is just let's Warzoneify BO6 and let's Modern Warfare 19. Let's bring all that stuff into BO6. It's like you guys know there's like a Treyarch game out right now.
yeah, literally.
Like I love all these guns coming back and stuff, but it's basically just like let's turn BO6 into MW19 for a season.
That's probably what they did. They're like, guys, we need to figure out how to get people back on our game. How do we do it? And they go around the room and like, oh, we can fix the cheating issue. Ah. Well, I mean, we can make it so there's less in-app purchases and make it a little bit less, money to play the game. Nah. We could add some better cosmetics that aren't AI generated. Nah. We could host something or do something. Nah. Let's just go back to Modern Warfare. I wish we could just go back to 2019, 2020 with Warzone and Modern Warfare 2019. Oh my god, there we are. Let's just do that. Like, I think that's just how the conversation went. Which, I'm not complaining. 100% complain. Like, I'm not really complaining about it. I just, it could have done a little more. I agree with Deception. I think they could have done a little bit more with, like, bringing in the BO6 feel and not just having it be Modern Warfare 2019 and 2025.
It's just like I don't know. It's just weird. But I mean, I've heard good things on the BO6 side. I mean, I there's one of the new maps that got added this season is getting tested in ranked play.
Oh shit.
So apparently the new maps are kind of good. And I've heard that Shattered Veil, the new zombies map, is really good. I have not played it,
Hooked you up with a giant gold chain.
but I've heard a lot of
Arthur.
people saying it might be the best map in the game currently.
I mean,
I do know that people are like blitzing high round strategies.
Oh god. Well, I saw you sending me those. Like they were like killing it.
Yeah, the game had not even been out for like 3 or 4 hours, and people were getting around 100 in like 2 hours. And I was like, okay.
Nice. Nice. Let me see. Let me look. I want to see these new maps because we didn't really do our coverage episode that we usually do before a new season. I think there's just a bunch of other stuff to talk about. We gotta go through like a little bit of there's like a I'm gonna use you've got to have an actual like graphic season 3. Don't mind me just scrolling through the Call of Duty page. This is what I do while Deception talks. I just scroll through Twitter or X. I just go through Twitter and find stuff. So there's 3 new maps. Guys, where's the roadmap?
That's why you go to Charlie Intel and not the COD Twitter.
This is rough.
Charlie Intel is the goat.
Yeah. We scrolling. Scrolling. Come on, where's that season 3 route map? It's doing literally every fucking time. And it comes up like 17 times, but when I want to find it, nowhere to be seen. XL. Switch to stuff. Switch to. I mean, that's kind of what took over last week's episode. So, switch to.
Switch 2 go crazy.
Oh yeah. Also go expensive. And here's Haven.
I've heard some interesting things about to Switch 2.
Well, here's Haven, which is one of the maps, which is supposed to be Modern Warfare 3 remastered map.
Yeah, they were talking about how that looks like an MW3 map, and it kind of does.
Yeah, okay, I got it. I found it. So here's the roadmap from Charlie Intel about everything that came from season 3. So we got Shattered Veil, new zombies map, double tap perk, ray gun Mark 3 ? And Wonder Waffle the OG2. A new limited time mode for zombies called Team Cranked, new field upgrade, and then in season, and then a new in season LTM called Zombie Snacks. I like that they're adding LTMs to zombies. I think it kind of like breaks up the monotony of round based while also keeping it there without like doing weird stuff like they did with like Vanguard. And then we're getting 6 new maps for multiplayer. We've got Barrage, Nomad, and Firing Range, which, you know, that's the OG Black Ops 6. Like, not Black Ops 6, but the OG Black Ops map, Firing Range. I love Firing Range so much. It's one of my favorite maps of all time, and I'm so glad that they brought it back. But there's 2 new maps, and then we're getting 3 new maps in season. We're getting Haven, which is the one I just said from MW3. Signal, which looks like it has a submarine in it, which is pretty cool, and then Blazetown, which looks like a 420'd version of Nuketown, which I'm guessing they're doing for their 420 event that they do, you know, every year with May. Yeah. There's some new modes: sharpshooter, demolition, joint operations. Coming later in season.
Talk about how I don't know if this will hit you the way it hit me, but if you just look real quick, just take a glance at Nomad and tell me that doesn't remind you of Pueblito. just from the image.
Oh my god, it does. Oh my god, it does.
I saw that, I was like, huh?
It does. Okay. Period.
I saw that, I was
Whoa.
like, what?
Oh my god, it does. Okay.
Is Pueblito in this game?
I guess so, in a way. They're like, oh, it works for X Defiant. Let's put it in here. What? That's funny. Yeah. I mean, it does look a lot similar. It's just Call of Duty fied.
I am excited about firing range, even though by the way, I still have not played a game of BO6 multiplayer.
What was that? Sorry, I got to text my boss.
I still have yet to play a game of BO6 multiplayer.
Damn.
We are like 6 months in.
Damn. Look at you go though.
I just have not really been into it, and I feel like if I do try to get into it, I'll just get sucked into it so far that it'll eat at me. And then it'll probably be fun for the first couple days, and then skill-based matchmaking will catch up with me and be like, "Oh, this guy's actually been playing the game. He's not new." And then I'll just get destroyed.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know. I want to be done with multiplayer so I can enjoy some of the other stuff, but I'm really trying to get Dark Matter. Black Matter. What am I trying to say? Sorry, I just got called into work tonight. Sad. Thought I was gonna have the night off. And then new weapons. We're getting nail gun, special weapon, pally sticks. There's also these rebar and nunchucks in the battle pass that I saw, which is really cool. We're getting the Amex AR back, and then the HDR sniper back as well, and then Kilo. If you log into Warzone, which I mean these are all Warzone guns for sure, and then Laura, SMG, etc. So it's gonna be good. There's a couple events coming. You know, the Black Ops tribute event, Blaze of Glory, and then there was the free weekend thing going on as well.
Yeah, their free trial.
But yeah, all right. I have to go to the bathroom. I forgot to pee before the podcast, so Deception's gonna take over and talk about I don't know, but I gotta go pee.
Yeah, I've yet to play a game of Black Ops 6 multiplayer. I have not played yet. I don't know if I will play or not. I've debated on it. It's one of those things where it's not that I deliberately have made an effort not to play multiplayer. It's just I wanted to focus on the zombies grind so bad. That I was going to hold off on multiplayer until the zombies grind was over. And then I kind of just fell off the cliff with COD, stopped playing it. And I've ceased playing zombies and multiplayer. So it's made me not play multiplayer, period, the whole time. And barely played zombies. I played a little bit of the Tomb, but not a lot. I'm debating on playing Shattered Veil, but I'm kind of meh on it. It does look like a good map, but I don't know. We'll see. I fell off the COD cliff at Cold War and came back at BO6. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm back.
Honestly, that's probably after BO6. That's probably what I'm gonna do. Honestly, unless the games are on Game Pass, and I can just play them without having to pay the full price, I probably won't play another COD game until whenever the next Treyarch game comes out, to be honest.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like that's fair, especially with the like now them being like $70 a pop for just like the base version. It's just like, is it worth it?
I've heard okay. So the thing about I might play next year's game because next year's game's supposed to just be like Black Ops 6 Part 2 ish. But like I've heard, it's very interesting. I've heard some very conflicting things about what Infinity Ward is going to do. I've heard that Modern Warfare 4. Now, take this with a grain of salt because Infinity Ward has really sucked recently.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard that Modern Warfare 4 or whatever they end up calling it, or whatever game they make, could be very different from the first two Modern Warfare games that in the hardcore player base were not received well. I have heard that Infinity Ward might actually be opening their ears and listening to people and trying to make a bit of a better game.
Please.
But I don't know.
Please.
It's like really early to speculate that because I mean at this point we don't even know at this point what's going to happen because I don't even think it's set in stone who's going to be making the next game after. We basically know that this next game, the very next game that's coming at the end of this year probably, is going to be like Black Ops something. It's going to be like, there's rumors floated around that's like basically Black Ops 2 remastered, basically what MW3 was, like stuff like that. But after that game, nobody really knows. There's been rumors that Sledgehammer wants to make Advanced Warfare 2. We haven't really heard a lot about Infinity Ward, but we don't even know who's coming after that. We don't even know what's next. So they could like throw us for a loop again, like they did when Cold War came out after MW19, because basically everybody was expecting a Sledgehammer game after that, because that's how the cycle went. And then Treyarch was like, "Hey, Cold War's here, it's coming," and we're just like, "Oh, okay." I don't know what happened to Sledgehammer.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think they should go back to like the idea of like a 2-year cycle on the games instead of just one.
I think it would get played out in terms of them. They don't have a whole lot of material to keep doing what they've been doing. Where the first game is a new game and the second game is basically like a remaster of the old game but with new game stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like they could do that for a few years, but like they can't do that too much. I feel like they won't do that for a little bit after this next game.
Yeah. I think it would be
but I
beneficial
do
for them to
kind
start
of
a new
like
series.
the idea of there being like the same team makes 2 games in a row or supports the same game for like 2 years and then we switch. Like a lot of people have been saying that for a long time, and I agree, is that I feel like COD would do better with a 2-year cycle.
Yeah.
But it's just really difficult because they actually apparently that was the plan with what became of MW3 was it was supposed to just be a paid DLC that was going to be way less than $70. That was basically what MW3 brought. But then they were like, they saw the potential of it, I guess, and they were like, let's just make it a $70 game. Screw it. So, I don't know. I don't know if Activision could stomach losing all that Q4 profit for 1 year just to have it better experience for the players, but you know.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that would be smart for them to do it. I mean, I think it's definitely something to throw around because I feel like that's a large reason. I feel like a lot of people feel like the games are rushed, so I feel like even that would give them more time in between games. Even like maybe even give them the opportunity to start like a new storyline. instead of just the Black Ops Modern Warfare storyline that we've been getting here for the past
It's
20
really funny
years.
because Sledgehammer and Treyarch games are typically the ones that get rushed, but we like them more than Infinity Ward games. But Infinity Ward games are usually the ones that are very polished and they usually have the least amount of issues. But gameplay wise, they suck.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny.
I don't know.
Like I remember like MW2, like when you look at it from like a technical perspective and like how polished the game was, how good it felt and stuff, it was great. Like there weren't a whole ton of bugs.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't a lot of the same issues. There obviously still were issues, but that happens with any launch anyway. But like it was a lot more polished than normal, but just the game itself was just not great.
Yeah.
But then like you look at like MW3, which was super rushed. It had a lot of issues in the beginning and they didn't really get it ironed out until like halfway through. And it's kind of the same with BO6 as we're finally starting to get BO6 ironed out a little bit. But people love these games compared to the MW19 and MW2.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there's definitely like been improvements on the games over the years. I think it's just like not $70 worth, in my opinion. Plus like the, premium, there's battle pass and then
Honestly,
premium battle
the
pass.
only COD game to me since the only COD game
think so,
that I
Dragon Reaper.
believe has ever been truly worth $70 is like BO3. I feel like if Activision like put BO3 out and it was the same as it was back then, but now, and they sold it for $70, people would actually think it was worth it.
I think so too. I mean,
But
I
like,
think
there's not really been any other game that was like, yeah, I'd pay $70 for that for sure.
I pay $70 to play BO2 again. I'm not even saying like then, I'm talking now. Like to have the BO2 experience.
If
Like
if they dropped it exactly how it was, yeah, I think I'd pay $70 for
just
that.
like with like updated servers, updated mechanics, just to make the game a little bit more smooth. Omni movement, put that in BO2. Give me BO2 again. I'll pay $70 for it, 100%, without a second thought. And I would feel like it was worth it.
But back then, it was like those games were legitimately worth it. Like
They were worth $60.
when you look at those games compared to now, and the fact that those games were $60 and these games are $70, you're just like, holy moly, those games should have been worth 70 and these should be worth 60.
Yeah. I mean that, and like you look at games like Minecraft, which is like $20. That game is worth like hundreds of dollars. That's $100
Yeah,
game.
Minecraft has always been like 20 to $30, and it's
And
like genuinely like probably the best game for its value that you could ever get.
yeah, that, and then there's like mods, free mods, mind you, free mods, for like PC, and then like and even and there's like add-ons and
Boy,
stuff like that.
that
for,
was
like,
my point about BO3 is like with all the custom zombies maps you can play on BO3, like I know like for console, and I mean this is a debate that we can have later, but like I feel like for console players, like BO2 is probably the best zombies map. The best zombies game outside of like when you think about like Zombies Chronicles, but just I feel like people just enjoy BO2 more. But like for me, BO3 and BO2 were like neck and neck for zombies.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have custom zombies on PC on BO3, and that just like elevates it like so much further.
Yeah.
Because like it's been like almost 10 years now. Since BO3 came out. And it's been like almost 9 years since we were able to start using the mod tools. And like I mean, there's basically any map you could think of is on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
any crazy fantasy you could have for a zombies map,
It's on there.
probably in
It's
Steam
in there
Workshop somewhere.
That's the cool part about it. I don't know. The thing is I loved Call of Duty too much, I think, to stop playing. Like, I think it's just so ingrained in, like, me and, like, who I am and what I love to do. And, like, I just think it's really hard for me to not play Call of Duty or get the next one, even. But I mean, that kind of just depends. I guess it's kind of depends on where the game is at that point in time. I mean, I've gotten a little less eager to get the game, I think, over the years. I mean, I used to pre-order, play the alpha and the beta, and I would buy like the premium copy. It's like $100, like. But recently, I'm like, I'll buy it the day it comes out, maybe, or like the day or two, or the weekend it comes out. You
I
know?
think it really helps now that the games are going to be on Game Pass. Like, if every COD's on Game Pass from day one now, like BO6 was, that
Mhm.
will really help people
Yeah.
who are like, I want to play this, but I don't want to spend $70, or like, I want to play this, but I don't think I'm gonna play it that much. Like, just download it on Game Pass real quick and give it a shot.
Yeah. And I like that they did like the free weekends too. Like that's smart.
Yeah, the free trials are always good too.
Because then people can be like, oh yeah, I'll play, and then get some kind of hooked.
Especially at the beginning, because they did a couple of free trials for BO6. Like, they had like a couple of them before the year even ended. And
Yeah,
that's
for
like
Christmas.
the launch, the first like launch to Christmas is like the perfect time to try to get somebody into COD.
Yeah, right before Christmas, and then you got Christmas noobs, but whatever. Yes.
We don't see those anymore. They're all in their protected lobbies at the bottom.
Yeah. I used to love Christmas noobs. No,
Not anymore.
not anymore. So stupid. SBMM. That's also another thing. I think if they, tone down, pun intended, wink wink. If they tone down SBMM quite considerably, I think that would also make the playing experience a little bit more worth the $70.
I don't think they'll do that.
I don't think so either. But it's like I'm paying $70
After they
to swap
talked about
Microsoft.
all of it and like they kind of explained it, and they haven't really done anything about it. I don't know at this point. Like,
I mean, I don't
I
think they
figured
will,
them
but
talking about it would be the turning point. They'd be like, okay, we're gonna fix it now, and
no.
they just haven't done anything.
Nope, nope, nope. Oh well. It is what it is. I mean, still gonna keep playing, so not solving the problem,
Yeah, I have not played.
You are.
So.
You're part of the protest of Call of Duty getting this shit together. I am not.
I'm not even doing it intentionally either. I talked about it when you were gone, but it's just like I I was saving playing multiplayer for finishing Zombies grind first, and then I fell off the cliff of the Zombies grind, and I just haven't played COD at all.
Yeah.
So it's not intentional, but I still have not played multiplayer.
That's okay. It happens. But with the last little bit we got, I really do want to talk about Schedule 1. And I think it kind of ties well into the conversation we just had about, games having the prices of which they deserve to have. And I think going into that conversation is a great segue to Schedule 1 because it's I think a lot of people I think it's we're going back into the indie game era of things and not as much being like with AAA developers. And I think this game is a great reason and a great explanation on why. Same thing with like Splitgate, Among Us. Like these smaller development teams, the games pop off and do well because the fact that it's not like this big corporate company. Most of the time it's like a team of like 1 to 10 developers who develop, but they're not like there's no like CEO, they're just CEOs, there's no like marketing special, there's none of that. It's just friends that love games and wanted to make their own. And that's kind of like what Schedule 1 is, and I think that's kind of where the fun aspect of it is coming from. It's a $20 game. I think it's the best $20 I've spent in a video game in a long time.
I mean, that's the interesting part is like back in like the mid to late 2000s, there were tons of people making indie games, and then it kind of like fell off for the most part. And now like indie games are coming back. Now it's like everybody wants to play the indie games now.
Yeah.
We've had enough of the AAA games. It's the same thing about like Crab Champions. Like I think that game is $10, and I think it's one of the best values you could get for $10. Like if you like roguelike games, if you like dungeon crawler type games, Crab Champions is great. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Like these like smaller games, they're making a comeback and they're not like super expensive, you know what I mean? Because like they don't have like thousands of salaries to pay with like the sale of their game. They have their own
I mean, Grab
expenses.
Champions has one developer. There's
Yeah.
one guy doing everything.
Yeah, so like he literally just has to pay his own bills and probably has like a day job too. I mean, like these kind of games, I mean, they are so much fun and they're so addicting too. Like that's the thing with like Schedule 1. I had to like kick myself off the game last night so I could go to bed. I was just like, I need to go to sleep. I need to stop playing. It was like 2:30 in the morning. I was like, somehow I still woke up and made it to class this morning on time. So I'm just built different. But yeah, I got home from work at like midnight and I was like, I'm gonna pop on and play some Schedule 1 for a little bit, and I freaking grinded for 2 hours, just like, and I wanted to, I could have played all night, honestly. So, yeah, it's just it's just fun. It's fun, because they don't think about the microtransactions or the this or the that. They just think about making a fun game, and they care about the gamers that play it, and they care about the experience that you have. Because at the end of the day, it's not the dollar value that they see in their bank account. It's the reviews that people give on the game and the experience that people get from playing their game. That's what matters to them. That's kind of what their gratification and their satisfaction comes from, is from the player satisfaction. And so that's what they focus on. They focus on that sort of thing where games like Call of Duty, for example, they focus on sales, they focus on marketing, they focus on getting as many people to buy and play the game and do microtransactions as possible. That is their goal as a company, as in a corporation. And that's just something that which I understand why they do it, because like they have bills to pay, they have to keep the company afloat. If you don't meet certain targets, you lose money, you go in the negative, you don't break even, or you do break even, but
It just boggles my mind though, because like Activision is like $1 billion industry. They're like, they have so much money that I feel like if they went back to their old like system, they would lose money, but I don't think they'd lose as much money as they think, or that would make it a problem for them.
I think
But they just don't want to.
I think in some cases they would lose money, but I feel like, I mean, one of the biggest expenses in most companies is like labor. Like that's like the number one expense for businesses, is just paying people who work for them. And like, but if they were to cut back on a lot of that stuff, like all the microtransactions and all like the weird calling cards and stuff like that, they would be able to, like, unfortunately they would lose jobs at the company, but I mean the games would be better. And bigger is not necessarily better, and I think in this case, I think it's a really good testament to it.
COD proves that. They have like some of these, like the games lately, they've had like thousands of devs. They basically, like, lately in these games, instead of one dev team doing one thing and another dev team working on their own game, they just basically just pull all the dev teams together and be like, let's do this one thing for a few months.
Like, cut the team.
So there's like thousands of people working on COD, and it still has all these issues and all that.
It's because there's so many people, and that's like a organizational problem, like organizational, like, flow kind of problem. Not everybody being on the same page, and certain people not doing certain things. Because I mean, like, I'm gonna get businessy for a second, but in modern day America, I mean, businesses and corporations now are focusing on like the collaborative team way of doing things, instead of just like independent work and then coming together and like sharing it, or even just like sending it off, which is more efficient. But if under the wrong type of like management, it's really difficult to do. You have to have a good leader to be able to make those kinds of teams work, because you have someone that, for example, like, I'll use games for example. You've got someone who plays story mode games only, right? That person's on the team. Then you've got someone that does BRs only BRs. And then you've got someone that plays Tetris. And then you've got someone who has never touched a video game in their life. You got all those people on one team. There's going to be a lot of different terminology, a lot of different references, and a lot of different things and communication errors that kind of go on between those four people, that the team leader has to come in and be like, okay, I'll translate for you, or they have to like be like, hey, can you say that in like layman's terms? And that kind of comes down to like leadership at that point. And I think that might be an issue with an Activision, is just like the way that their teams operate together. Because I don't want to doubt anyone's like ability, especially like developers. I know developing a game is not an easy feat, especially with like the standards that Call of Duty has as far as like quality and just us as like a community. We have really high standards when it comes to these games, and we're just never satisfied. So I don't want to like shit on the.
Well, we have, to be fair, we have high standards because they used to make games that are a lot better than the games they make now.
Yeah.
Even
But
if the game's like technically, like from a technical perspective, and from like
a viewer
from all
like
these
yeah.
from a technical perspective and like graphically and like performance wise, like the game is better. The product is not as good as what it used to be somehow.
It's experience. It's the gaming experience. I mean, like, you know, maybe a better viewing experience, you know, but as far as participating in the game, it's not as great as it used to be. And I think that kind of comes in from the collaborative aspect. I feel like, you know, the teams aren't as efficient as they are as they could be. I mean, we kind of talked about this is a few years ago. But you know, like Activision is known kind of have like a they used to have a pretty toxic work environment for people, with like the frat bro culture and everything like that, and just like a lot of different things going on. And I'm assuming it hasn't all gone away, um, especially since this is the gaming world. I mean, that's kind of like tying this back to like the Scorpion Syndicate and kind of like our mission there is just to kind of like break this bro bro mentality, brotherhood thing that people have with gaming. Um, and I think that might be a part of it too. Which, you know, that kind of sort of thing, it really does affect performances of people. I mean, they don't feel like they matter, or they don't feel like they're respected, so they don't perform as well. They don't do their job as well. There's a whole bunch of different things that could be wrong to where these games aren't being as good as they could be with the amount of people that they have on these development teams. I think I mean, we're not there, so we really don't know. So all we can really do is speculate. I mean, this is all just hypothetical, based off of knowledge that we have available to us, and things that we know ourselves. Just want to put that out there. So you know, this is all hypothetical theory, hypothesis. Nothing is true or in fact. No evidence based to say this is all fact. But um yeah, something needs to change with Activision, and whether that needs to bring down their development team to a smaller group of people, or you know, I feel like there's definitely some positions there that definitely don't need to be there. Um, and I mean, I think there's definitely some changes that can be made to make the game better, because I feel like if you know, cut down on the business itself a little bit, make it a little bit more personable instead of corporated, I think the games will go better. And you know, better games equals more sales, in my opinion. So
Yep.
you don't need all the marketing, you just need a better team, and the content creators will do the marketing for you. um It'll probably be cheaper to pay a content creator 10K than to pay an entire marketing suite to promote your game. Just have like one guy, then an editor, and a graphic designer.
When you look at how like diehard COD content creators are, it's like if your game, if you make like a Black Ops 2 caliber game, they will never stop playing it.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing
They
too.
will upload a video at least, probably multiple, every day on that game, the whole life cycle of the game.
Yeah, and like that's the thing too, is those like, you know, these people that play Call of Duty's a big game. I mean, for some of the other smaller games, I get having like a social media marketing team to kind of get people out there, or even just you know, recruit some more creators. But like the creators that do play Call of Duty and are known to play Call of Duty have a very large following. They have thousands, millions, some even billions of followers that play this game, and for them to come back to the game and be like, "Hey guys, this is great. Like, I'm genuinely loving this game, paid or not." People will come back. People will come back to the game, and I think that's just like
Well,
a
it's the same thing
testament.
about how X Defiant got so much hype, is like
Scump was
COD
playing
content
it. Yeah,
creators went to play X Defiant. They were like, yeah, this game is legitimately great.
yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there's other circumstances with like Ubisoft that didn't make it so the game continued. But um, you know, content creators have a lot of buying power, and I feel like people forget that sometimes. They don't forget it when you know they're paying people to do it and do like brand deals and sponsorships and stuff like that. But they forget
Yeah.
it when it comes to certain things like this. I mean, if you need to cut people out of your team, pay the content creators because they have so much reach. They have so much reach.
Oh, and you look at games like you look at like the indie games like Schedule One, Among Us, Lethal Company, all those games. If they never had content creators that got put onto the game and made videos on the game and attracted more people to the game, they probably aren't nearly as big as they are now.
Oh,
Like I
absolutely
know
not.
COD loves to like focus on the casual player base, but like the only reason why COD has a casual player base is because of the content creators that have kept it going.
Yeah, I feel like especially now. I mean, maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, even like pre-COVID. I feel like it wasn't as important. I feel like you could still like market a game without having like a lot of content creation around it. But now I feel like consuming content from influencers and just like people that play video games in general is such an integral part of our day. I mean, they like most of us consume at least an hour of video game content every single day, at least every single day. I'm not talking at most or on average. I'm talking at least an hour every single day, whether that's between TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter,
Yeah.
whatever, at least an hour combined every single day, all of us. Some more than others, like some of us will, consume more than others or more depending on the day. But at least an hour, and that kind of proves to like how much, how impactful that hour needs to be. We're gonna be like, okay, yeah, that's a funny video, like, and it's just like a fast-paced kind of thing. But the more you see 3, 4, 5 Schedule One videos, you're gonna be like, damn, this game seems pretty cool. Let me check it out a little bit more, and then you check it out a little bit more, and you're like, damn, this kind of seems pretty fun. Let me give it a shot. It's only $20. Let me give it a go,
Yeah.
and boom. And then you've got this actually just popped up on my thing, but I've been watching a lot of like Mr. Beast podcasts recently, and kind of like listening to him and what he has to say about his business. But like even with like people like Mr. Beast, like if he were to promote a game, and he'll do it for like he knows that his reach is too big for any marketing side of a company to like afford, so he'll just kind of like take what they can give, pretty much. But you get someone like Mr. Beast who gets, like most countries in the world, he's the most viewed, subscribed YouTuber ever and currently, and
Yeah, like imagine if
rising.
Mr. Beast hopped on Schedule One and
Like
was
if
like,
Mr.
"Yeah, this
Beast had,
game's great."
yeah, everyone would be like, the servers would probably crash, honestly. But that's just kind of like the thing that the
Well,
influencer
that's what
proved.
happened with Splitgate. Splitgate blew up on TikTok, and then like the game went from like having like 500 average players to like the servers were struggling keeping up
100,000.
with all
There
of the
was
players that came on to play the game.
I went from like playing against the same 5 players every single game to being in a queue for like an hour just to be able to play. Which, not complaining because, Splitgate's an awesome
I
game.
remember when you and I first played it.
Well,
It
because
was like
Perfy put me on, he's like, yo, Tone, get on this. Homie, like, this is gonna be the next
it felt
game.
like there was no skill-based matchmaking in that game.
There really wasn't.
Like it was just like there was like 500 people on, but like you could get in a game in a couple seconds, and
Yep.
it's like yeah, you played against some of the same people, but it was like fun.
Yeah.
And then like the game blew up on TikTok, and then like you get on and it's
It's
just a
crazy.
totally different
It's
experience.
crazy. But, yeah. Um, Anyway, that's kind of like my little thing. So, I mean, indie games are definitely making a comeback, and I think they might overtake these AAA games in the market pretty soon, depending on how things go. If these AAA don't change what they were doing, because right now they're a little too money hungry um, to kind of keep up. Because these indie games, they put the game first, they put the gamer experience first, over sales. So I think that's something that they need to recenter as a big corporation to do. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We did go a little bit over the hour. I mean, we did cut it short last week, so we're just making up for lost time, I guess. Thank you guys so much for being here. We had a really great podcast today, full with lots of good information. Very, very factual and insightful, I think. You know, like I said, take everything we say with a grain of salt. We're going based off of what we know, and none of this is not. Some of it's factual, some of it's not. So if you get mad at anything we say, that's the whole point of an opinion. It's my opinion. It's Deception's opinion. We have those. Please disagree. And let me know in the comments what you disagree on. But thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like the video if you guys are watching on YouTube, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm on that grind for monetization. So if you guys want to hit that sub, I have a lot of people that watch my content that are not subbed. It's like 96% people aren't subbed that watch my content. And a lot of them are returning viewers as well. So please,
Bro, y'all got a sub at some point.
Subscribe, guys. Come on.
You keep watching the videos and you like it, hit the button.
Yes. And then thank you guys, those of you tuning in live on Twitch. We stream us live every Wednesday from 12 p.m. EST to 1 p.m. EST over on twitch.tv/Tony_Scorp and twitch.tv/Deception276. Sorry, I forgot my words there for a second. But yeah, so Deception, say bye.
Bye.
See you guys next time. Peace.